continues on a daily basis. I'm blessed to be able to know this guy right here and spend some time with him and be able to enjoy and be a part of his vision. But thank you for having me here. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me and my path and where I come from. I'm a product of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay, I'm a Packer fan. Don't throw nothing at me. But I came here the first time in 1977 to go to school. Lasted about a year. Ended up in Iowa, 4 years. Got out of school, and by accident, I got in the car business. And this was one of my passions because a car salesman likes to talk to people, and they love cars. So, I mean, what else can you do? I mean, after 2 weeks, I was hooked for life, and 40 years, here I stand. And along the way, I've learned some valuable lessons. I've learned some life lessons. I've learned business lessons. I've learned people, and it's important to me because my dad always said, you always have to give some back to people, especially when you've taken from the community that they've helped you grow your business. So that's part of the reason why I'm excited to be here, talk to you guys. So after my stint in Iowa, where I spent 3 years selling cars, I wanted to get into what I call the bright lights in big city. I moved to Dallas, Texas. I was there 15 years, and then I was recruited to come back to Minnesota. My employer at that time was a guy you guys probably know, Denny Hecker. Does anybody know that name?
Yeah.
Okay. No, listen, I'll tell you something. He's my guy. He the epitome of a hustler. I did learn a lot of good things, but after my year contract was over, I went back to Iowa. Started having kids in 2001, and I made it back here because their mom is from Minnesota. That's how I met Jim, working for the Moores organization. But going forward from that, my experience has been about 25 years making money for other people, a lot of money. And I'm thinking to myself one day, I said, you know what? Tired, I had a good month, my kids are little. Isn't there something I can do to make the money or count the money first for myself? So in 2005, I took we always say I took a leap of faith. And I said, you know what? Let's go try it ourselves. The best decision I ever made in my life. Because the only person we can really count on is ourselves. You guys agree with that? So 2005, I went on my own, and it's been an absolute beautiful ride the whole way. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about some things, and they might be simple. They might sound simple to you. They might sound, this doesn't seem like cutting edge information, but it's some simple things you can do to help you on a daily basis to get to your goals, where you want to go. Okay. I gotta ask you guys a question. Who watches the news in the morning? Who reads the newspaper? Okay, what do you think about the situation of the world today? Forget about the city of Minneapolis. How about the world?
There's a lot of negative.
Negative, okay? How long ago has it been since the city of Minneapolis was on fire?
3 months, 4 months.
Now, speaking as an OG, I would never think in my lifetime I would see what's going on in the world today. As a young person, somebody trying to come up, and they're hearing all this stuff, whether it be you can't do this, racial divide, COVID-19, wearing a mask. I'd wake up every morning trying to figure out how I'm going to get my giddy up on, you know what I mean? It's hard. It would be hard. Now I'm sitting here, I'm 61 years old. And I wake up every day and I have to do a checkup from the neck up to make sure I got my mind right. If I'm a young person trying to figure out where I go or where I fit in or how I'm going to start my business, how I'm going to take care of my family, how I'm going to make sure my mom's good, my dad's good, I'd be confused. So I think, and there's a lot of different things, but there's a couple different things that I think that young people should focus on more than anything. One thing is, the main thing for me, after all this stuff that I see in the street, see on the news, you got to have a good attitude. You agree with that? You agree with that? When I said that I give myself a checkup from the neck up, I wake up every day and I'm an early riser. I never slept. I had sleep apnea as a kid, so I get 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep. I'm good. I'm ready to run. 98 miles an hour. Some people aren't 98 miles an hour, they're 35, which is okay. Everybody's got love, right? So when I get up early, the first thing I do is I meditate a little bit, spend a little time with myself, try to figure out what I got going on. And then I make sure I put my mindset that, number one, I'm gonna be kind and nice to people. I'm gonna, help people as much as I can. I'm gonna go take care of my business's work. I'm gonna make sure I take time for myself. I'm gonna eat lunch, okay? I'm gonna make sure I don't work myself into the middle of the night or middle of the day after 9 o'clock to try to make money when you should really be taking care of yourself. That's, to me, keeping your mind right. Taking care of your business and getting on with your day, and make sure you spend time with your family, okay? That's what I do. Now I'm gonna ask some questions. What do you do to get your mind right?
Meditate, pray.
Do you? Pray. Pray. How about you, Idal?
I would say prayer.
Prayer?
When I wake up.
How about you, my man?
Read my Bible.
The Bible. See, now this is getting me all excited right now. How about you, Robert?
I just take a break, kind of like meditate.
Okay, and that's good, because I'm gonna tell you something. What I see, when I go in dealerships, and I do some consulting, I go in dealerships and I see guys in the little huddle. Guys, you know what they're talking about? What they're gonna do after work. Or what happened yesterday, or what happened to this guy. It's not any good for your mental attitude. If you're not in a good mood, you're with a positive attitude, it's gonna be hard to be very successful on a consistent basis, So, I always say, if you got a checkup from the neck up, you got a 90% chance of being successful for that day. Another part of having a good attitude is this right here. If you're tired, if you're up late at night, I know some guys that like to go, when they get off work and they get home at 2, 3 in the morning, they're ready to go the next day. I don't know how they do it. Did you do that? I think if you're serious about what you're doing, especially in the beginning, that you really don't know all the steps or where all where the holes fit in, that you have to make sure that you're mentally ready, to keep a good attitude so you can get to the next day and the next day and the next day. I know guys that will go to lunch and eat like a rack of ribs. Could you come back to work? What do you do? You know what happens to me when I eat too much food? You're tired. How you gonna do your business? And I always refer everything to the car business because that's where I've seen it happen on a great scale of guys who didn't have success because of these 3 things: bad attitude, tired, and they go and eat too much food, okay? So, again, these are like the most basic things in the world, but they're true, they're true. And if you can follow a path to make sure that you do have a great attitude about things, that you are willing to help people and support people and, and do all those things, you're gonna have an unbelievable career. It's something that small. It's not Maserati technology that you have to do to be successful. It's simple stuff. And sometimes we look past that. This, what I'm getting ready to share with you right now, is probably the easiest when I say, and it's like, it's like first, second, and third grade kind of stuff. So, you see this right here? Guys that worked with me 30 years ago, if you ask them and say, hey, tell me something about Ken McNeail, I say, well, he always walks around, he's got paper in his pocket, in his jacket. He's always got something. Well, what's on it? Well, he always writes down everything he needs to do. Every day. Make a plan. Don't just get out of bed and go, oh, I want to be on the lottery system. Let me spin the wheel and hope I land on the red spot or the money spot. If you got a plan, with me, I evolved. When I started, I just started with pieces of paper like this right here. And I write down everything I have to do for the day, and the next day, I look at it and I cross off the things I didn't do. So then I would staple another page on top of it, so I got day 2, okay? Same thing. And then I go to a seminar with a guy, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's got his paper out, and it had something on the top. It says, 10 things to get done today. I said, man, that's cool. I can get something that has a writing on the top. And I said, I can get on my computer and make that. So I started doing those. But again, every day I knew what I was doing. At the end of the month, let's say it was a good month. Without a doubt, I can go through there and look. If I had 10 things down, I got 8 of them done. 10 things down, 7 of them done. Nothing less than 5 on a daily basis. Successful month, made money. The months I didn't do anything, I look back, 30 pages. Well, got 2, got 1, and then I got big red written. I'm a bad month, so my head's goofed up because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a plan. So does that make sense? Something as simple as writing down what you have to do on a daily basis, you know, having a plan. Dallas, you mentioned to me that you work for Northwestern Mutual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they have you following leads on a daily basis? Did they have you, or when you came in, you had to show them what you planned on doing for the day?
Yeah.
Same thing, but we as individuals, whether you are in school, whether you are looking for a job, whether you already have a business you're trying to do, if you know what you're doing, you know, from when you start to when you finish, your day's complete. You're fulfilled for doing these things. And I just feel that something as simple as having a plan will help you get to where you want to go. And I'm going to kind of follow up with a little story about a kid that in 1996, I'm a sales or general manager at the Southview Chevrolet in Emerald Grove Heights. And this kid comes in and he's about this tall, and I hope he doesn't see any of this right here because he's gonna get mad at me. And fiery, full of spit and vinegar. Great kid. Sits down, he talks me into hiring him. And so I said, well, listen, when you come back on Monday, I'm gonna train you. And he said, well, my mom, and I said, you gotta go get some business clothes, because he had he'd just came from the club. And I said, you gotta get a nice shirt, you gotta get a nice tie, you have to get some nice shoes, you can't wear those Doc Martens. So he came back on Monday, the kid at the time he told me his mom bought him 3 new Hugo Boss suits, which is probably true, but, so he comes in, he does the part. This kid would be the first guy at the dealership in the morning. He would be the last guy to leave. Customers loved him. Had the best attitude in the world. I mean, this kid kept me laughing. I don't think I ever saw the guy mad in my life. And I've seen people be mean to him. You know, people tease guys who aren't like 6'5". So, long story short is when my year was over with Denny Hecker, I went back to Iowa. I took him with me. I said, I gotta have this kid with me because he keeps me happy all the time. You know, you always want to be with people who make the best of you come out. He stayed for a while and he said, Kenny, I got to go to Texas with Bill Mulkey, a guy who's like a dad to me and him as well. And so I said, well, I can't keep you from going. He goes to Texas. Last September, which would have been like 23 years from when I hired him, 23 or 24, he came back to the city of Minneapolis as he was brought on here as a managing director for a 4 dealership car group out of Chicago. When I say a managing director, that means he is part owner of 4 dealerships. 4 dealerships, 4. And I look at this kid and I go, I remember when you came in and we sat and we visited and you made me laugh. And I said, I'm gonna give you a shot. And then a month and a half later, it was 6 weeks. He says, hey, you coming to my birthday party? I said, yeah. Where's that? It's in Uptown. I said, well, how old are you? He said, 18. So I hired the kid. He didn't tell me the truth about how old he was. His name is Charlie Swanson, okay? If anybody he's part owner of 4 dealerships. He's got interest in 4 dealerships, 2 Lexus stores, a Chevy store, and a Mercedes store in Rochester. I mean, this is just one instance of people who I've been with in my time, that we do these little things, and you see how they blossom into great things. And the last thing I'm going to talk about this right here is I met up with him last November, December for some lunch, and he's driving a big LS 500 or whatever it was, and I walked by and I looked in the window. He said, hey, you want me to give you a ride to your car? And I looked in the window. He had on the front seat of his car this with what he had going on. Lunch with Kenny Mac. You know, I got verklempt. I mean, you know, I kind of got teared up a little bit because this right here I talk about, it seems like, you know, I don't need nothing to write nothing down, what I need to do for the day. But, you know, successful people, and I think I saw in the book one time that the favorite habits of the most successful people are they always write everything down. You know, don't take that part for granted because it's true and it works. You want to stay focused, stay on top of your game, practice it. Now, we're gonna have fun with one of these right here. With this one right here. Okay, so you know when you do some things and you feel like your cheerleaders are like clapping you on. You ever get a promotion from work? You had a kid. You did something great and people just all giving you hugs. You know what that's like? How it feels? You know, you get adulation from people. They love you because you achieved something. You know, and then there's people like the 35 mile per hour people who won't ever say much, but they do care. But they just don't like to talk to people. They don't like to come up and hug and kiss and tell you how great you are. I've got an aunt that I have to call about once every 6 months if I don't hear from her. And she'll go, okay, how are you? And she knows everything about my kids. That, oh, she turned 18 and she's going to school here, and she knows everything. But she won't ever pick up the phone and call, and you know. But those people are in your corner. You love them. It's to your family. And they care. But they ain't never going to say nothing. Ever. They're not going to, you know, call you and give you a high five. And I don't do Facebook. I don't get on there much. I see what my friends and their family are doing to make sure everybody's okay. But she don't even do that. She don't even have a Facebook account, you know. But the type of people, and those are too great. That helps you. That helps you move forward because everybody needs to be told that they do a good job. Because otherwise, why would we? You can be bad one day, good the other. Who cares, right? But I always say that your success, a big part of it is going to be based on who you associate with, who's in your circle. People you can count on, people who influence you and who you influence as a person. If you have people in your life that kind of try to bring you down, aren't happy for your successes, that they you can tell that they might say something over here, oh, well, he only got this because of that. Oh, he's lucky. You know, those people right there, you have to kind of put them on the side. You know what I'm talking about. You know anybody like that?
Oh, I do.
Everybody. You know, but the hard thing sometimes for people, what I see, especially young people, you know, when you're old, who cares? You know, old people don't care what people say about you. You know, they don't care because they're stuck in their ways. But when you're young, you're influenced by what people say and how you think people feel about you, you know. So a hard thing for me in that time was to, you know, either put the people who weren't my cheerleaders, well, not necessarily cheerleaders, but the people who weren't for me, that weren't down for me, what they say, what they do. It was hard for me to tell the people, the bad ones who were maybe not happy or not, that didn't want to see me succeed. It's hard for me to kind of push them to the side because everybody like everybody. You know, if you got a bad one, so what? But they're not going to help you get where you want to go. They're not going to help push you over the hump, especially on a bad day. If you're having a bad day and you already want to be bad, you're like, I'm going to quit this job, I'm sick of it. When you have an opportunity there, they will help you quit. If you have a good opportunity, don't you want somebody to go, hey man, hold on for a second. Why don't you think about all the good you did? Last week you was a salesman of the month, and now you're talking about quitting? Those are the people you need in your life. The people who are going to support you and help you get to that next thing. And it's hard. I mean, I've got 2 teenage daughters that neither one of them can drive very straight. I'm always in a bad mood, I shouldn't say that. It's easy to get your attitude down if you have situations like that. But that's another subject. But my kids have a hard time trying to stay with the people who will help them. You know, they always come to me and ask me, Dad, what do you think about this right here? This girl right here, she's not motivated. She doesn't care about anything. All she wants to do is do this, that, and chase this and chase that. I say, well, listen, I can't tell anybody what to do. We're all moral free agents. We can be with whoever we want to be if we're 18, right? So I think, you know, again, I always tell people, especially young people, be around people who will help you get to your goals and your aspirations. Don't hang around anybody that's trying to drag you down, period. You agree? So tell me a little bit. I like to ask a question. Of the 3 things I just kind of shared with you all here, having a plan, attitude, and the people that surround you. What do you think about all that? What do you think?
I mean, for me, I've been in the game for a little bit, and I mean, I can relate to your point about when you're younger, you feel more invincible, and you kind of don't. Nobody knows what you know, and and so you kind of do your own thing. You want to chart your own way or path or whatever, and then as I got older and sat through it and kind of had the highs and the lows, those are the things like you want to be around people, like you said, that build you up. Your attitude is definitely is a reflection of your success or failures, and yeah, I mean, writing or at least having a plan is very important. And but yeah, it took me a while, and it's funny because as a parent now, I'd always be like, well, my mom don't know nothing, they're saying stuff, it ain't like that no more.
Right.
And now you sit back and then you can reflect, it like all of that stuff they told you was true.
Absolutely.
So I can reflect on it now, but at the time I was not here, and I was just whatever. That's back in your day. It's different now, and it's really not. So it took a while. I think I had to chart my own path, but it came back to say that if I knew now, then I probably would have been I could have eliminated some bumps and been a little more successful quicker.
Going out the chute.
Right.
And isn't it crazy? How many times have you heard the saying, if I only knew what I know now back then, or back then what I know now? How many times have you heard that? Or your parents tell you, oh wait, you're gonna have a reckoning when you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Every day.
every day.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, I know, all that stuff right there is true. But, again, when we talk about being successful, it's not rocket science. And that's what people, I think, like if you go to these seminars and you sit down with these people, and they make it seem like it's so hard, and the first thing you think when you leave, you go, man, I can't do all that. So I always tried to make it when I was training salespeople, when I was consulting, when I consult with guys, I go, look, it's not that hard, it's a few simple things you can do and get your mindset right and decide how you want to get it done, and you can get it done, What do you plan on doing in the next 5 years, Dallas?
What do I plan on doing? Hopefully being my own business owner.
There you go. First count of the money, right?
Yep.
How about you, Michelle?
Same. I'm already an entrepreneur, but just.
I like that. See, she said entrepreneur. She knows that means I'm a businesswoman. Okay.
But I want to take myself a little bit more seriously. It's crazy because I'm reading the 7 Habits of Success
Yep.
for people. So this is definitely some of the stuff that's in the book. And I struggle with my attitude, especially what's going on in the world today. As someone who's like middle, I'm older. I'm not young enough to be considered youth, but still young enough to know that I got a lot of learning to do.
Right.
So I notice when I don't make a daily plan, my month is crap. But I do notice when I plan things out and ask questions. Remember when I first came here, I'm like, I'm starting an internship in a tech company. Like, just curious, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And being more open and expressive about where I want to go on my journey, and not being courageous enough to ask questions. Because I was just telling Mr. James, that's one of my flaws. It's just like, I know where I want to be, but just being intimidated by people who are more successful and being afraid to ask those questions. But I'm getting over that.
Well, you have to, because the thing is, there's never a question that's not important, especially when you're coming up. You said entrepreneur. You said you just have to get in there and kind of see what it is. And once you get in there, you'd be like, wow, this ain't that bad. Like Jim said, when I go out on my own, I'm like, first thing I thought is, I said, you know what, this is gonna be great. And I said, well, I'm not gonna have that big check on the 1st and 15th. So what do? You gotta eat. So now you gotta hustle. You gotta start thinking. Your mind never really shuts down when it comes to, what do I have to do? Well, if with me, it was the car business. You gotta buy cars, you gotta buy nice cars, you gotta acquire good customers. You have to have best business practices, so the ones that you have, you don't piss off. And then you grow the business from there. And that's what I knew about the car business. And I'm like, I did this for too long, it shouldn't be that hard. Well, it's scary, it's not hard. You know what I'm saying? To be out there, because you're like running naked, and no, vulnerable, you know, and nobody likes that. But the taste of success will come when you wake up one day and you feel so good in your heart, and you know that the people around you are good, your family's good, and that's the best feeling in the world. And then you can't be stopped at that point, you know. I know part of what Jim is doing here, is there financial stuff that you're training or teaching as well?
We always weave in financial literacy.
Okay, and that right there is, you know, as important, because as we grow business-wise, there's always a need for capital, you know. And if you set yourself up the right way, you know, you can get that money, you know. But if you don't, or you don't get yourself in the right situation, it's harder, you know. So the one thing I would tell you is that talk to the people who've done it. And they'll tell you, well, I goofed this up first, but I learned this way right here. Don't just go on there on your own, and don't be asked, you know. I'll make myself available to anyone here for anything when it comes to asking about business, asking about how you do this, how you do that. You know, it's terrifying to walk in the bank and ask somebody, you know, not know that there's resources there to just go and just say, go on here, what? You know? So what I'm trying to tell you is, don't be afraid. Keep chasing that dream. Because when you get there, you know. My man, are you gonna do the deal? Are you gonna go try and become a finance manager?
Of course.
There you go. Well, listen, you gotta, it's an, you know, I think you share the same blood as the man back there holding the camera that was holding the camera. But, so, this business, and he'll tell you, 40, I couldn't get out. I think I tried once, you know, I said, hey, I wanna do something else, but I didn't, you know, my heart is sales, because I love people. I love talking, I love using my hands, I love sharing an experience with someone that, you know, they get a chance to buy a product that's great. I get a chance to help them with that, and then I get paid for it. I mean, there's no better relationship in the world than, you know, buyer seller. So, and again, I'll keep doing it until the last piece of dirt goes over. But I mean, I'm stuck in this right here, and this is good. And a little bit that I know, maybe a little bit more than that, I'll share, you know, with no problem. How about you, Rob?
Me?
Yeah.
I want to just continue to keep putting myself in the right positions to where I can gain the network and the knowledge to eventually set myself up to start my own business, because I am an entrepreneur, a future entrepreneur.
I'm sorry, what did you say the last part?
Or future entrepreneur.
Okay, future entrepreneur. Okay, what do you want to do? I mean, because I know your dad is I know him. You know, I see what he does, and I always call him. I say, hey, man, I'm watching what you. I'm watching you. You know, so you have a little bit of that in you.
As to what? Like just.
Well, just
like
I won't say the hustle, meaning like the hustle, but like you know you want to be involved in business, and that's what you want to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, Dallas. Can you talk and hold the camera?
Yeah, I can. I'm gonna own my own fitness facility.
Okay.
In about 3 years is my goal.
Are you going to compete with Lifetime?
I'm gonna compete with Lifetime.
There you go. Well, good. I guess just I guess to wrap things up, you know, I think I gave you guys 3 little things you can do on a daily basis to help you kind of get to the place where you feel good every day about doing what you do. Along with that, you have to love your family. That is most important. You have to have support. You have to have people that are your cheerleaders that you wake up with, you go to bed with, and all that right there. That's important. You know, we can never do everything on our own, you know. Besides, and I didn't really get into faith and church and all that, that is the best avenue for love, and you all know that already. But make sure that you keep all those things. Don't work yourself to the nubs, because you have to have a life too. If you can balance your life and your business life, and then your family, and then your faith, you're well-rounded. You can't fail. You know, back in the day, you know, guys used to say, hey, all I want is a half a ham sandwich. That means, I mean, that, you know, that's like, you know, half ham sandwiches, to me, when I think about that, I think that means, you know, you're okay, but here, this is what you get. You know, don't ever let anybody tell you that that's all you deserve. Tell them you want the, I want the surf and turf, the steak and the lobster, because that's what we deserve when we go out there and do it every day. All right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.